Hello and welcome to this video on the Analyst Packs for DBArtisan, part of the DB Power Studio suite from IDERA. There are 3 Analyst Packs that come standard with DBArtisan: the Capacity Analyst, the Performance Analyst, and the Space Analyst. So I have DBArtisan up and running right now. It is a Windows workstation application. I have it running on my laptop. I have a few of these databases running on my laptop, but there's not a lot of activity going on. And this is how it would look when I get started. I have some folders that are set up based on vendor. I have some SQL data sources, MySQL sources, and some Oracle sources. So I can see by this red inverted triangle here that I am connected to this data source. So to jump into the Analyst Packs, I have a couple of ways of doing that. I can expand the Analyst folder under the data source tree down here and see the Capacity Analyst, Performance Analyst, and Space Analyst and click on one of those. I can also go up to the menu under Analyst, and there I also have the Capacity Analyst, Performance Analyst, and Space Analyst. If I click on one of those, up pops a new tab down here on the bottom. If you're familiar with this space, it includes the Explorer, the Welcome page, and now the Space Analyst. You'll notice that when I did that, a new menu item appeared on my menu list. There are a few items that I can do, such as open a wizard, set thresholds, or run a report. There are some options that I can set as well. The first time I run one of these, for example the Space Analyst, it will tell me that I do not have it installed and I need some credentials to be able to install some stored procedures. There are no data or tables associated with Space Analyst or Performance Analyst, just some stored procedures that need to be installed. Capacity Analyst does hold historic data, so there are tables associated with that. You will need to install a repository using a quick wizard that does install tables, as Capacity Analyst does store historic data. The Space Analyst and the Performance Analyst work on real-time information. So let's start with Space Analyst. It has this schema already installed, and most of these Analyst packs are similar. It has tabs down here for different information. So I can look at these overview screens. I can do things like right click, toggle the display, and be able to show the details underneath. So I can also look at file groups. I can look at the map that shows me the visual mapping of my objects. I can actually go here and see if one of these tables is heavily fragmented. I can also look at my databases and my objects. So if I bring up all my items under DBO, it brings up a list of tables. So I can right click on this and I can click open, which brings up my table editor. So I can use this to change a data type, add a new column, change rows. I can even do this to look for missing indexes. All of this is available by clicking on the table in the Space Analyst. So this is Space Analyst. You can find out more in the documentation, the graphs that are available and things. I will just say that it gives you a lot of information about tables, table spaces, indexes, and how they are used, their extensions and max extensions. The tutorial online walks you through a lot more. And this brings us to Performance Analyst. So I can click on this and bring up Performance Analyst. It has a lot of internal information related to Oracle or SQL Server or DB2. In this instance, because I'm connected to SQL Server and a database here, this is the information it shows me. I have the ability to have drop-down menus along the top that show me different information such as memory information, I/O information, space, what databases at a database level, and I can also look at top sessions, locks, and even at the operating system level at the CPU and I/O. Now let me mention that Performance Analyst is not a 24/7 monitoring solution. It is a real-time tool. There is no historic data saved. It only starts recording data when I start DBArtisan. As soon as I leave, all that data goes away. There are other tools that IDERA has that do 24/7 monitoring and proactive alerting. This tool is just not built for that. It is built for the specific use case that I want to see what's going on right now and determine where the bottlenecks are and if I need immediate insight into what's happening right now. There are some of what we call alarms. Right here is the icon. We click on that and it shows a number of alerts that are happening. So these go from yellow to red, but these are only available when I'm looking at DBArtisan. It's not going to send me an email or alert to my phone. But if I'm looking at things here and I'm curious, are things reasonably healthy? I can quickly go here and look at these alarms. While I'm on Performance Analyst, let me take a detour and show you the basic performance monitoring in DBArtisan. If I right click on a data source, I can say monitor, and that will bring up the monitoring. You can also drill down in the Explorer tab under your data source to performance. Now this shows key metrics, and these will change based on which DBMS platform you are running. For SQL Server, you can see processes, I can see locks, blocking processes. Just a couple of mouse clicks, I can go in here and look at the sessions and see who's blocking someone else. The underlying data will be different depending upon your DBMS. Oracle has SGA information. So those are available from the Explorer or by right-clicking on the data source. So that takes us to the third and final analyst pack, the Capacity Analyst. The first time I run this, I will have to install the repository because this keeps historical data. The main intent behind the Capacity Analyst is to identify some counters. I can then on a regular basis, daily, weekly, monthly, get values for those counters. Then I can graph those out over time, whether it is CPU usage or table size. I have one called Collection 1. I can select it and then run analysis, and what comes up are the metrics. So I can go down to table. Let me select a couple of tables. We're going to select number of rows on both these two tables. Now I click OK, and this allows me to look at the data that has been collected. Now this is done on a bi-monthly basis. On a monthly basis, I can change this to days if I want to be able to see the information is collected. So I can also take this and trend this out. I can trend to a date or trend this to a value. If you're looking at table space percent full, you might want to trend to a value. If you're looking at how much storage my database takes up, you might want to trend to a specific date. So let me show you how we can create a new collection. So I click on New, and up comes you specify a name. You can put in an email address for notifications if you wish, and this brings up the different types of data that you can perform trend analysis on. So the first one is data storage, database storage and structures. Select this option to track your database and storage information such as free space and file group growth. You can even look at your backup sizes and other different items. Obviously, we're talking hundreds of metrics that you can collect on the actual database and the storage structures. You can also select database objects. If you want to look at a specific table or an index, you can do table row forwarding, table row counts, object fragmentation, all those at a object level. You can also track wait events and SQL Server performance statistics. So I will select wait events and click next. So now we are looking at the structures for storage. So I can go in and look at my file groups, I can look at database space, I can look at the total size of my backup, and then when I click on the next tab we bring up the objects. So if I only want to look at a few tables, I can select exactly which tables I want to select and bring them across, or I can take them all and bring them across. So the next step is the wait events. So if you want to look at network I/O or your backup, you can easily bring across those wait events. You can look at different items as well, and then we click next and this brings up our statistics. Do you want to refresh your statistics when you collect for this object? And then the next page is the auto purge, and this allows you to purge this collection because it is taking data and adding it to objects in your database. You probably want to purge it if you're doing this automatically. And when we click finish, it asks if we want to schedule this demo to run. Now I'm going to go ahead and click no and show you the two different ways we can run this manually. So the first way to run this, you'll notice that it is not scheduled. The next run is not listed. The last time it ran is not there. The first time it's not. So it's collecting 99 metrics right now. So if I right click on demo 4 and I can say execute, and now it goes off and executes this collection for the metrics. You will notice that down in the output it successfully collected the statistics for it, so it is completed. I can also right click on this and select schedule, and this brings up the Windows scheduler. So if I want to execute this weekly or daily, I can easily change that and say execute, and it will run this every day at 1:33. So I can generate all kinds of reports off this collection as well. So let me go back to that and show you the reports page. So you can run capacity collection summary reports, or you can run analysis reports. Creates one of several predefined ones. So let's click on this and up pops our collection summary report, which tells you your statistics that you're collecting, object lists, locks, memory manager, file groups, files, database space. So that's what happens when you look at the reports. If we click on it again, let me do the analysis one more time. So this time we're going to trend it. So we have those monthly amounts for the number of rows for these two tables. So we can trend to a date. So let's say we're looking at this to know how many rows are going to be in my table at the end of next year, because this is getting to the point where sometimes you need to understand how much storage you need to request for next year. So this will give us a trend for all of next year. So when I execute this, obviously this number is not changing because I am not adding rows to this table. So that was a brief overview of the 3 analyst packs in DBArtisan, part of the DB Power Studio suite from IDERA. Space Analyst provides sophisticated diagnostic capabilities to help you effectively locate and troubleshoot bottlenecks and performance inefficiencies that result from the challenges of space management. Performance Analyst is a robust client-side monitoring product that presents a series of pictures of a database's performance. And the Capacity Analyst collects critical database storage, object, and performance metrics at scheduled intervals and provides visual analysis and reporting mechanisms that allow for historical and trending forecasts. Thank you for your time.